now listening to the Dreaming of Freedom podcast on the 2 Cents FC network.
All right, welcome back to the Dreaming of Freedom podcast, where we talk about all things black soccer in MLS. I'm Jermaine.
I'm Callie.
And I'm AD.
And we are members of Black Herons United, an independent black supporters group for Inter Miami and all things black soccer in South Florida.
For episode 23, we'll discuss Spain's historic World Cup victory, the epic Leagues Cup final between Inter Miami and Nashville, the return of MLS, and our footnotes where we discuss the questionable fashion choices by MLS clubs.
Hey, all right, y'all. So today we are absolutely blessed to be joined by the family, Greggo and TK from FTCUTD Soccer Show and the 2 Cents Network. So we're just gonna start. We're just going to start with y'all real quick. I don't know if y'all seen this. I think y'all have seen this. So in one word, please give us your reaction to Cole Palmer of Manchester City, and his Melanation delegation revelation.
Shocking.
TK?
Hesitant?
Love that.
Like
AD, what about you, bro?
I didn't see it.
Well,
Whoa.
Just know that Cole Jermaine Palmer is now J. Cole Palmer. Callie, you saw that?
I saw it, and as the white man in this board today, I'm just gonna say I'm shocked, man. I did not see that one coming, man. And some of the content that followed that on Twitter was unmatched. Just absolutely
That is John B. Cole.
John B. Cole.
This one one's much more surprising than the Emile Smith Rowe revelation that we all had, but
So
this one had
yeah. You know what? With Smith Rowe, I kind of saw that when I was like, those features look
that
stupid.
jawline, bro. He had the jawline. I always questioned it. I was like, I have questions.
Yeah.
Hey, is there anyone else y'all have questions about?
Kalen Sheridan, the goalkeeper. Like, dog. Like you see this in the group chats. Like, every time I see Kalen Sheridan, I'm like, dog. Like the way she tans, I'm like, nah. You can't tell me that. Somewhere down in 23andMe, she got some Creole at least. I mean, come on now.
At the very least. At the very least.
One that sometimes surprises people. Curtis Jones from Liverpool is half Nigerian.
Oh yeah.
So
He got curly hair. We're good. That'll be my son. He's like your shade, Callie.
okay.
So
Yeah.
I'm dark as hell. So I'm like, we'll have some conversations in about 5 years.
Lord, that's hilarious. That's hilarious. So in all of these revelations, I found out that Kieran Trippier is also has a black dad. Yeah.
Still, that one's still like not shocked. But Cole Palmer, I was like, absolutely not.
Dude,
Yeah.
completely threw me off guard, bro.
I know Kieran Trippier, and I just Googled him to get a good face picture, and I am shocked. That one's
like when it's because I have like a certain part of my family that's like stays up in West Virginia and everything, right? And all of them light skinned and everything. And it's funny because of course I probably say about half of them have white partners, and so of course the kids of those parents, like I swear they have cracked the code, because like it's not just white passing, it's like curly hair, blonde hair. I was like, yo, like y'all flipped on the entire script, and it's absolutely wild, like just like how genes can just all of a sudden be flipped, because like I think y'all saw the picture of his mom and his siblings. It's like, no. Like there's no way. There's no way.
Some mad chromosome smashing going on in that entanglement.
the difference between him and his sister it's a gulf.
Yeah,
there is a gulf, and if I mean I saw the picture and like it was a double take for me. Like there's no way. Like the gene pool completely shifted to the other side of the pendulum.
It's to the point where you just have to like obviously just ask like, did this kid happen during the off period?
Bro, you are not lying, bro. You are not lying. These are questions that need answers, bro. Like, I thought it was funny. I sent this to one of my advisors from graduate school. He's a big Everton fan, and like we always talk about these things like race and soccer, and we always kind of have a good laugh about it. And so I sent him the Cole Palmer picture with his whole family, and his first response was, "Why the black people in the back?" Because if you look at it, you got Cole Palmer and his mom, right, in the front, and then you got the sister who clearly looks mixed, right, clearly looks biracial, and the pops in the back. So it's just, man, just a complete roller coaster of. I don't even know, man. I was just like completely blown away by the whole entire revelation.
Just admit, they pulled a D Wade. Like I said, the kid happened during the off period. Shout out to D Wade, by the way. Basketball Hall of Fame, all that.
Shout out to D Wade.
That's my goat
all day. All right, Greggo. Any last comments on the J. Cole Palmer revelation?
Like I said, it's. I think, especially with City where they are right now, I think him, especially because he and Foden look so similar. It's like, which one's gonna get the better treatment here? Because I'm like, because all this considered, if Palmer turns out good, that's he's gonna be on Derek Jeter mode, where it's like, he's black, but he ain't gonna be treated like he's black, so he can be treated just like Foden.
It's such a weird phenomenon, bro.
Yeah,
it's
really
so weird. It's like, what do we do with that? You know what I'm saying? What do we do with that? But we'll see. We'll see.
Are we calling him J. Cole Palmer now? Like, is that the name that he's been given?
Listen, his middle name is Jermaine. I mean,
goddamn.
J. Cole. The J and J. Cole is Jermaine.
Oh, right? He's definitely black. Like
and they're both biracial. Right? I mean, come on. I mean,
I have never met a white Jermaine ever in life.
Never. I have a lot of pride in that, actually. No, I'm just playing. But so shout out to J. Cole Palmer. Shout out to J. Cole. But definitely shout out to J. Cole Palmer and the treble champions. But as European club football begins, 2 massive tournaments have just ended. So let's quickly start and go through the World Cup final, featuring the matchup between Spain and England. Were you all able to catch the early morning final?
It was interesting because I was rooting for England, be forefront there. But man, as soon as the match started, it pretty much became pretty glaringly obvious that whatever England was attempting to do, Spain had an answer for, and it was really less that they couldn't get past the press, and they effectively did that and shut down almost everything that offensively England was trying to do. And then the other thing was Spain, they were individually better than England. If you watch the passing, Fox is going to glorify it by the pass count, but the impressive part was that Spain, for the most part of that entire 90, were playing one touch, dude. And that was really nice to see. Like, I didn't expect that, I thought it would be a little bit more time on the ball, but it was just super fluid. And England, every time they got the ball, it was sit, think, look up, pass. And that was if they got the pass off, because otherwise the ball got nicked off. So that was a huge difference in terms of the style of play and the kind of I don't say ambition to go after it, to go get it, because I'm sure England wanted to win. But yeah, Spain just they finessed their way through that. It was the passing that definitely made the difference, in my opinion.
And the passing is the Barca way, right? It's that Barca identity that was clearly reflected in the Spanish national team. Greggo, what you think about the final?
I didn't watch a whole lot of it. I've been trying to watch the full match because I think the clips that I saw. I mean, just from the previous matches that I've seen of Spain, like you can definitely tell like the tiki taka is all over the place when it comes to Spain, and I think that I can't explain England right now because I feel like the biggest takeaway I have is that each game they were waiting on a problem to happen, and before they decided to get proactive and make changes and try to get ahead. This team Spain was too good for them to wait, and they needed to be more proactive. I'm sure we'll probably go into the whole Lauren James situation, and you know, I feel like they tried to make her an example by not starting her, but at the same time, she's too good not to start, especially in this game.
In the final, bro, she's too good not to start in the final, bro.
Because like as a great commentator once said, last game of the season, can't hold anything back now. That's what you got to do, and I think they will regret, not starting her. I mean, England's still in pretty good shape as far as going forward for the next Euros and for the World Cup 2027. But I think that they miss a real opportunity by trying to claim whatever type of moral high ground instead of just saying, "Hey, put your best players and play, and let's see what happens." I think that when they did finally put in Lauren James, they definitely looked better, and it's just a shame that they waited so long to do that.
Yeah, Callie, what were your thoughts on England not starting Lauren James in that final?
Yeah, I mean, anything would just piggyback off of what Greggo already said. Bad time to kind of make a stand, especially considering that she's arguably the best player on the team, and we've seen her dominate, and yeah, the red card was bad, and all that other shit, but yeah, man, I think it came down. Honestly, it came down to coaching. Kind of like how TK mentioned, the tiki taka, the very traditional Spanish cliche of death by 1,000 passes came to life, and it seemed like England for most of the game were reacting instead of responding. Like nothing seemed productive. It just towards the end they threw in Lauren James, and they started to press a little more, and they turned it on a little bit, but it was too late. And Spain are very, very, very good team. They were a lot of fun to watch, and as someone of Basque heritage, I was happy to see Spain win the Colonizer Cup, I guess. But well, it's I guess for me the biggest thing is like it's such a shame that something so great is bogged down by like so much controversy and so much stupidity that very much is not new to the women's game, right? It's something that I think now we're seeing come to light more than we have in a long time, which is a good thing that these things are beginning to be addressed, but it's just a shame that this continues to be a cloud over the women's game.
Yeah, for sure, right? And I think that's the story of this entire tournament, and the story of this victory, right? The Spanish victory, right? I mean, I think it came down more to style, right? More to the quality of the players than it did the actual coach, right? Jorge Vilda. There's been a lot of criticism surrounding Jorge Vilda for a number of reasons. One of those reasons is just that he's not that good of a coach, right? He's not that good of a tactical manager, right? So there's this really great Twitter thread by Michael Emilio. He put on this really great thread about Jorge Vilda and his kind of mediocrity as a football coach, but also the complaints or the concerns that the Spanish women had about Vilda, right, and just about the whole setup with the federation. And so when prior to Vilda's appointment with the senior team, he was the manager of the U19s or the U17s and the assistant coach for the U19s, and during that time, I think it was from like 2009 to 2015, or 2009 to 2015, he he was in control of some of the more better women footballers in Spain, right? Like their golden generation of footballing talent, right? You had players like Alexia Putellas, Patri Guijarro, Aitana Bonmati, Marta Torrejon, all right, and Mariona Caldente, right? And all of these players played for Barca, right? They were all on the youth squads when Vilde was the coach of the U17s and U19s. And during that time, the only trophies that they acquired was on the U17 level, and it was the two gold championships for the Euros, right? But a lot of critics feel like that he should have had more, right? That those two youth teams should have had more, considering the quality, considering the talent that they had. And then he was appointed to the senior squad, right? And as we saw, right, there weren't a lot of results, right, when he became manager of the senior team. In fact, when he left the senior team, we started seeing more championships, more trophies on those youth teams, right, the U17 and U19 team. So he comes into the senior squad, and of course, they're lacking results with, again, quality players, right, top players. And so they wrote a private letter. Some of the players wrote a private letter to the Spanish Federation, outlining some of their concerns, which, again, thanks to a number of different sources, including this thread, there was a lack of privacy. There was a lack of rest, right? In terms of the privacy, I guess Vilde mandated that the women don't lock their hotel rooms, right, when they're traveling. There was a lack of rest, essentially a lack of medical resources, right, to help the team get better, a lack of nutritionists, right, and just a lack of tactical understanding, right? And so it's quite a shock that they actually made it to the World Cup finals and won, considering all the controversy that they were facing, right? And so after they wrote that initial letter to the Federation, which was supposed to be a private letter, right, the Federation responded publicly. And came out, blasted the players, and then afterwards, 15 players, right, this kind of now famous, the 15 players wrote an open letter in response to the Federation, who were then subsequently excluded from the World Cup selection, right? So I think it's just really important to know exactly what Callie said earlier, that, these women teams, these national women teams are succeeding, are experiencing success despite their federation, right? And it's not just Spain. Of course, we can look at Jamaica, we can look at Colombia, we can look at France, right? They kind of had a very similar experience a couple weeks leading up to the World Cup. So all of this nonsense surrounding the Spanish women's national team, and I just wanted to know how you all felt watching the game, knowing this background, right? Knowing this controversy, and like, how do we feel? Like, how do we go forward, right? Like, particularly, how do the players themselves go forward, right? This is the crowning achievement of their career, and it's just clouded by all of this controversy. I don't know how y'all feel about what the women could be experiencing in this moment, or how the national team is supposed to move forward.
I think that it's real tricky because, I mean, obviously when you win, it's almost like it could easily be used as justification not to change anything. I mean, we've seen it here with the U.S. team, because back when Jill Ellis was coaching the national team, she didn't really have a lot of fans like internally on the team itself. It was just more so. I think in the similarity in both cases is that you had a team that was so stacked that they could win in spite of their manager. And I think that, of course, with everything with Vilde and obviously with the Spanish president, I think there's an opportunity where you could move on. But at the same time, I think that when you have a team that's this special, still well within their prime to where they should still compete pretty well in 2027, it's like, what coach is going to say, nah, I'm going to go ahead and slide off and just, do whatever? Because he's been in place since 2015. So it's like, unless Real Madrid came calling and said, hey, come manage our women's team or whatever, I'm pretty sure they'll probably try to find some way to justify him staying. But I think that again, like, because this wasn't even like the full squad, because like out of everybody who protested back last year, only 3 players came back. Of course, one of them actually being Aitana, who won the golden ball of the tournament. But I think that it's that's both the frustrating thing and also the scary part, because there's players that should have been here that weren't, and they still won. And I think that I hate when people use this as an opportunity to retaliate, because like, hey, look what we did without y'all. And I'm like, no, like let's lay things out and say like how do we all move forward. And I'm hoping that it allows the women to say their piece, and hopefully it involves in the coaches and president moving on. But I'm gonna bet that we're not gonna get everything that we want here.
Yeah, no, that's probably exactly what the situation is about to be, and it's just such a wild scenario. Like, the dude hasn't won anything since 2015, right? The first time you win something is the World Cup, right? So it's just like there's an interesting conversation to be had as it relates to his future. I mean, I agree with you, Greggo, that he's probably not going anywhere for the time being, but should he have been here from the jump, right? Like, from 2015, if you haven't won anything, for 5 years going up to 2020, then yeah, I think it's fair to move on, especially considering the talent that you had. Typically,
if you go that long, you will ultimately get dismissed. But I think that Vilda probably has enough cachet within the federation where he's like, hey, just work with me here. And of course, as far as the team itself goes, I mean, obviously we've seen the run of dominance that Barcelona women have had the past couple of years, obviously winning the Champions League this past season. And so like you had a squad there that knew how to win. So it really just came down to, having enough talent around the squad to where, like I said, you're good enough to get by regardless of what the coach is. Of course, we've seen the clips during the tournament where it's like they were openly disdainful of this man. They were like, nah, we don't roll with you. We don't fuck with you as a crew, a coach, or a clique. None of that. So I think that with how they move going forward, again, there's an opportunity to reset course. Obviously, with the Olympics next year, that might play a small part in this. But I think I want to say that UEFA used the World Cup as a partial qualifier, so they should be in the Olympics next year. But I think that with how this team moves forward, like, I think the opportunity would probably have to come sooner rather than later, as far as if they do decide to move forward. I move on.
No, for sure. TK, anything on your end about the Jorge Vilda controversy?
There's a lot, but does anyone know if the same rules are in place for the women's Olympics that are for the men's with the age restriction?
I'm not sure. Say it again. What is in place? Are you asking?
Does anyone know if the women's Olympics has the same restriction for age as the men's? Don't they only let you call up a certain amount of players over 21?
Oh no, that's just for the men. The women is a full senior tournament.
Right. So then the answer is no. Interesting. So thank you for confirming that. Yeah, that definitely could go into be a factor for this next year in terms of how they are organizing things with the Federation of Spain. But I mean, honestly, at this point, they kind of need to clear house. They've basically doubled down, which has been a continued example of all their previous behavior. So it's like not really shocking or surprising. But I think the fact is that you could use this opportunity to remove them from kind of a more of a Spain as a country kind of. I don't know how that would totally have to go down, but it would have to be some overwhelming majority. But yeah, and then the other side of that is that it totally diminishes the opportunity to celebrate from the actual player standpoint of the achievement itself, which is crazy because, like, how often do you win the World Cup? Crickets. So, like, given that, it's like, man, I feel for them in that regard because they just want to be elated. They just want to, like, have more, like, moments where they're just living. There's a clip where Junior Hermoso is going through the airport security with her medal, and it's like just she straight giggles, so it's like you're removing the opportunity for them to celebrate in their true selves, and I think that's unfortunate. Like, he really, like, apparently he begged her to do the video, the apology video, and that obviously didn't come off with her in it, but it's just this weird straddling of factual lines of, are we okay? Are we, like, is this consent? Or, like, because if she makes a statement publicly that says, it's okay, I'm fine with it, it wasn't weird, or even if it was weird, it was just surprise and heat of the moment, I'm okay, all y'all need to chill down, we're Spanish, this is what we do, then this all goes away. But until that comes out, like, well, this is all ambiguous, and you're gonna have cancel culture, like, on it, like shit on flies, or vice versa. So, I mean, I don't know. For me, I'm just like, it sucks to see the value of celebration diminished, especially from the women's POV, because they're already working at a net negative for a lot of things. So yeah, you just do better, man. Just do better. The man's grabbing that one of the assistant's breasts and photos, and there is just I did some digging today, and I could go on, but I'm gonna stop. It's just really bad stuff.
Kissing on the lips from the Federation president. Hey dog, what are you doing? So,
Is
TK, I love. Apparently not, because the man came into the locker room and told the squad, he's like, yo, I'm about to marry Hermoso in Ibiza. Like, I'm about to treat all of y'all to a trip to Ibiza, and then 2, y'all can see me get married to old girl. Like what? Like, bruh.
Like I said,
the entire federation is just a shit show.
It's a shit show. Yeah, Ibiza is not the place to get married. That's the place to be single. It's the place to be very, very, very single.
That part, absolutely.
But no, I mean, it's. Of course, we've seen the backlash and feedback from people from outside of Spain, and I get it. You want to, obviously you're excited, like that it is a natural reaction to just be excited, but especially in his case, being in the official capacity that he's in, I feel like you have to figure out a way to just keep your person, keep your cool, and know that, yeah, like I'm still here, not just as a fan, but an actual representative of the Spanish Federation and everything. Mind you, like, we even talk about, like, the how he was acting apparently in the stands, grabbing his crotch next to the Queen of Spain, like he was acting a whole ass fool. And not to mention, there were other pictures where he was kissing other players, like, on the cheek, and I'm like, dog, like, you out of pocket right now, and just. You're using this as like as an opportunity to almost like to cop a feel, basically, and be super reckless just because, hey, we're all celebrating, we're all happy. I'm like, nah, like, you over here.
Hold up.
What's up?
That's that same vibe as, like, the dudes who go to the club to just rub on, man. Like, you hit a solid point there. I just had to interject with that.
But it's one of those things where, like, you're basically being a low-key creep, because, like, again, like, you're using this as an opportunity, like, to act out on whatever crushes that you might have and whatever thoughts that you might have had on certain players, because you're like, yeah, that girl's kind of cute, man. Like we're all happy, like we're all having fun here. And I'm like, nah, like that like you can't roll like that in that spot whatsoever. It's just that ain't it at all.
Yeah, bro, it's complete foolery, bro. Like, yeah, they need to get their shit together, the entire federation. But I mean, to TK's point, right? Like, we don't want to spend too much time on talking about the foolishness. So I definitely wanted to give a big shout out to Salma Parayuelo. She won the Young Player Award for this year's World Cup. And she's been balling for the last couple of years, right? She was the European champion with Spain in 2018 for the U17s. The same year they won the World Cup, the U17 World Cup. A few years later, she won the U20 World Cup with Spain in 2022, and now the Senior World Cup in 2023 with the Young Player Award. And her 2 goals of the tournament came at, perfect times, right? She scored the winning goal in the quarterfinals against the Netherlands, and then scored again in the semifinals against Sweden. So definitely a big shout out to Salma Parayuelo. And again, only 19 years old. Only 19
and
years old. I believe she's playing with Barca right now. And a sprinter, right? And a sprinter. That's right. So let's definitely keep an eye on Salma, because she is definitely going to be burning it up for years to come. Speaking of young players, it was a bunch of young players, right? This tournament. Of course, we've talked about Linda Caicedo a number of different times. So it's just great to see all these young women kind of coming on the scene and really just balling out, as they should be. Black women at that, right? Black women at that. So we definitely want to keep an eye out on Salma and her career as she goes forward. So before we move on, anyone else want to add any last minute thoughts on the World Cup?
I'm gonna hold mine. What you got, Hallie?
Oh no, I'm good. I mean, you guys did a great job kind of covering everything. I guess just to put a bow on it, it's just again, it's a shame that we got to witness such an exciting World Cup, like start to finish. And we were talking about it on, I don't remember if it was last episode or the episode before. This. I mean, to me, this was more entertaining than the Men's World Cup. It was a little tougher to watch, obviously, with the time difference and stuff like that. But every game felt fantastic, and seeing kind of like these young rising stars finally kind of getting into their spotlight, and like if you watch the women's game, Lauren James and then the Caicedo and those type of players. But to see them finally recognized like widespread throughout social media was awesome. And then for all that to kind of be brushed under the rug because of just a bunch of old dudes doing dumb shit, it's upsetting.
Go ahead.
No, go ahead, Greg. Go ahead.
Okay. I think that the biggest takeaway for me is, one, expanded 32 teams was absolutely perfect. This is easily the best women's World Cup that I've seen, and I would definitely, I would put it up against the men's World Cup in Qatar. I'm not sure if it's just a case of the feats that I was watching, but it seemed like two things. One, the standouts, I think if they weren't Japanese, they were all black. As far as just like who stood out, pretty much as far as like the teams that made runs, Caicedo, Sylvia Smith, Naomi Girma, the Swaby sisters for Jamaica. You had Lauren James. Like, you had a lot of players who were definitely
Foster
showing out throughout the whole tournament, and I think that that's obviously great to see, as far as just obviously that there are black women out here getting their shine. Second part is that I think just the overall result of the tournament, obviously having not just the first time winner, but also first time we knew that no matter what happened in the Final Four, we were getting a brand new champion that's never won before. And one of the stats that was pointed out during the recaps is that like this is the first time ever that neither the U.S. or Germany were in the final. And I think that that's what you want to see in this game, is that you want to have that parity where we're not just seeing the same team every single World Cup. I mean, obviously for us, it means that we didn't do as well. But at the same time, I think that it's better for the overall game if it's not just us every single time. Like, we need to, the wealth has to be shared somewhere or another. I'm already looking forward to 2027, especially if it ends up being here. But I think that growth is good, and I think that it only means good things going forward.
Love it. And I mean, yeah, let's definitely keep our fingers crossed for 2027. That'll just be an absolute movie. 2 years in a row having the World Cup
pocket gonna be destroyed.
So that'll be oh my god, bro. Speaking of, Greggo, please stop sending all the fire merch, all the fire fashion, bro, because you single-handedly are taking all of my money away.
Yeah, Greggo, you keep on sending me those, and pretty soon I'm gonna have to send you a bill to split the divorce lawyer with me, because my wife about to kick me out.
It's not my fault that Miami, like I said, everything's hot right now in Miami. So, I mean, there's just way too much drip out here for y'all to not take advantage of it. I mean, like I said, somebody got to take advantage of it down there, because that way when y'all are at games and everybody be like, yo, where Black Herons at? Yo, just follow the drip. Just follow the drip.
Just follow the drip.
Just follow the drip.
I like that.
Speaking of drip, shout out AD.
Trademark.
Oh man. So all right. So speaking of Inter Miami, right? Of course we know the World Cup was not the only finals that we were blessed to watch over the weekend. You already know, as you can see, AD, the home team, Inter Miami, faced off against Nashville in the Leagues Cup final. AD, take it away, sir. How are you feeling right now?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling championship mood. Got the hangover still. You know what it is. But just a great match to watch in general. So much drama. I know my heart didn't like that drama, but it was great for television. Great to see some pressure put on Messi, just to see the team be able to overcome it or whatever, and beat all the rigged allegations. I don't know if we did, but it is what it is.
Did we beat it or confirm it? I don't know.
Valid.
I'm not sure. But hell of a game. TK, go ahead, bro. Go ahead.
I got notes. No, I want you to finish though.
Damn. Okay. All right. TK's about to come and burn this whole thing down. Sorry though. It's all good. No, listen. It was a great final, yo. It was a fantastic final. As AD said, it was great to watch the club respond to the pressure, right? I mean, Nashville controlled the game, the entire game, right? I mean, the entire game. Messi did what Messi does, right? He had that one moment, and he took care of it, right? And then, as we saw in the PKs, Big Draco doing Big Draco things.
Sticks God.
So, Callie, I want you to go first before TK burns this whole thing down.
Yeah, I feel like that's appropriate. But yeah, man, I think you nailed it. I was watching the game, and my wife was next to me, and she was trying to calmly, my wife doesn't love watching sports, but she tolerates it because of me. So she had AirPods in, and she was reading a book, and I was literally standing in our bedroom, in front of the TV, and she'd be like, "Can you stop yelling?" But Nashville was. I thought Nashville played better than we did, whistle to whistle. They controlled the game. We had our moments and stuff like that. And bro, when and how Messi scored that goal was just absolutely incredible, just iconic. And the thing is so my brother was watching. He doesn't like love soccer or anything like that. He's watching Inter Miami now because of Messi, but he's an American football guy. He's like, what? Like, how did Nashville stop that? I'm like, Nashville actually did everything right. Like, they swarmed him, like they clogged the lanes and everything. It's just, he's Messi. That's why he's the best, man. It's like,
Yep.
It was just a sight to see that. And then how we kind of gave up that goal for them was deflating, to say the least. How it just kind of ricocheted off of Draco, and then going into pens, and my brother's like texting me the whole time, like, why there's so many guys going, like, when does this end? I'm like, this is just gonna keep going, bro, until there's a winner. And then came down to the keepers, and seeing Draco stop it off of Panico and run to the team, that was. And I'm gonna say this, and I said that, and I threw this out on Twitter and stuff like that. No one in the club deserved that moment more than Drake Callender. He is one of two on the roster from the beginning, and he's like, came up. He was an academy keeper. And then I remember when he was getting reps with the first team, people were like, oh, why if we have Marsman? Why is this guy getting chances? And he kind of had a bad preseason, and then he was just kind of thrown into the fire, and he never gave up the spot after that. And I think Drake embodies everything about Inter Miami so well. And yeah, man, he's a kind soul. He has a black hair and scarf, fun fact. Man, I was so happy for him in that moment, because if anybody in this club had to have that moment, I'm glad it was him. And also, I'm glad that Messi had the thought in that moment to let Yedlin be the one to lift the cup for the team. I thought that was a really classy move. I thought that was great. And I was watching it, and Messi, you can see him kind of waving him over. And I'm like, oh man, he's really going to get Yedlin doing it. I'm not going to lie, I got a little emotional watching it. But man, we put up with fucking Ben Sweat and Will Trapp and fucking Mikey Ambrose to finally have this moment. So it was nice.
Will fucking Trapp. Wow.
Will Trapp. So Greggo and TK, how are y'all experiencing? Because a lot of the narrative is about how Messi is doing wonders for the league, right? Not just for Inter Miami, but for the league in itself. So how are you two as Atlanta United fans? How are y'all experiencing, minus the Inter Miami thrashing of Atlanta United 4-0 in the Leagues Cup? How are y'all experiencing this Messi experiment?
Just had to throw that one in there. Okay, that's okay.
I had to, bro.
But no, I think, well, first of all, just a quick note about that goal. Like, the level of defending that was done there, like Callie said, like, they were right there. And I think that just the level of quickness that he got that shot off, like I said, like, there are players that are here and there are players that are there, and then there's fucking Messi.
Yeah, that defense was swarming, and he somehow got it off.
Yeah, like that's one of those, like, yeah, there are too many players out here that can get off that kind of shot and actually get in there. Like, not too many people at all. As far as just the Messi effect, I think so far, I think that I'd be hard pressed to say that MLS isn't already seeing their return on Messi, just for the fact that they were quick to announce that the season pass numbers have doubled since Messi is coming. Because of course before then they weren't talking numbers. They were like, those numbers are G14 classified. But like now it's like, we doubled now. So yeah, clearly something good has happened there. I think that obviously with his arrival, there's obviously just been more eyes on the product and obviously on his games. But I think now that with the season starting back up, it's going to be interesting to see like how much attention is paid to Messi, because of course we're back to life, back to reality, and fact is Miami's back in last place, so it's going to be I think that will be an intriguing storyline as far as just like how far can Messi take Miami to where they could possibly shoot for a playoff spot. I mean, granted, MLS has like 38 playoff spots, so I always say nothing's impossible, but at the same time, I think with there only being 10 games left, like you basically have to run the table to have a reasonable shot just at the wild card spot. So it's going to be tough. I don't think it's impossible. I think that personally, I think that they should just go ahead and just aim for the U.S. Open Cup and then just call it and just say, hey, if we make the playoffs, cool. If not, we literally have Leagues Cup and we have U.S. Open Cup. We qualified for CONCACAF Champions Cup next year. I call that an absolute win, as the Hulk would say. So I think that whatever happens after the U.S. Open Cup is like, hey, we did all right this year, all things considered. So never mind how we finished.
Yeah, I'm not really mad at that. So U.S. Open Cup, if you don't know, tomorrow semifinals against Cincinnati, 7:00 I think it is. So check that out. But yeah, listen, all we need to do is just get into the playoffs, right? If we can just get into, we're not trying to get into the first seed, right? We just need to get into the playoffs, and we have a chance. That's all I'm gonna say. I'm also in my treble feels, as I'm sure I'm still in my treble feels. So you already know if Inter Miami can get this treble, we're gonna go for it. TK, please tell us how you're feeling. Tell us how you're experiencing this whole Messi experience.
Start from the back and work our way. Work our way through this. So, first of all, I would just like to notate that Monterrey sent a reserve team to the third place match. They lost. They didn't give a shit. They lost. Philly won that match because Philly wins at home. That's what they do. I'm not sure what happened when Philly played Miami, but
it's a good one.
Bro, Messi. First of all, Messi happened. Second of all, Monterrey, they're already in next year's Champions Cup, right?
Yeah,
I think they're already qualified, so they're not tripping about that third place match.
They've been on the road for 28 days. I just wanted to give them some flowers, effectively here, because we didn't say anything about Liga MX teams. I don't think from the POV, and I think that plays a part because this competition was unfair to them, but put in place to essentially have some sort of showpiece final between a Mexican powerhouse and Inter Miami. You couldn't pay me a lottery-sized jackpot to believe that there wasn't some sort of finessing happening between the final and Atlanta United 4-0. I don't know how, when, where, why, but the other half of that is the Messi component, the actual skill component. The fact that you could sum this up, actually, the other 50% in Messi's goal from the final, because only a couple players can do that, and it's having that in your locker, that skill set, because that ball definitely curved outside of the post and went back in. So if you are a player that has that technique and that ability, and you can pull that off under that kind of pressure, then you're clutch, and then you can take all those moments and you're deserving of it. So that's something that Messi has done consistently, and Greggo made a great point in some sort of social post where it really actually proved that PSG was the exception and not the standard. And that was like pretty light bulb moment for me, because it really, I think that's got to be the other 50% of this. The league finessed some things to make this all work for Messi, and the other half was just I don't know. Very, very storyboarded in the sense of like the way Argentina, you know, like it put a belief. I don't want to say like storyboarded and make you seem like this was actually scripted, but it put storyboarded in the sense of belief, where it put belief in the supporters, it put belief in the casuals, that this was going to happen. That once Messi was a part of this equation, that the puzzle was done. You just needed to frame it, glue it, and then look at it and just appreciate it, because that's what you got. You got to go to the games, you got to turn on your Apple TV. They stream those games for free for a lot of them, and they're like, enjoy the product. So like, they accomplished the goal. They put out these G14 numbers. They really did what, you know, Messi, the whole effect was there. But I think the crazy part is like all the stats with the goals, and especially with the final, like the 22 goals. Miami hasn't, like, Miami without Messi, they have 22 goals in the league. With Messi, they have 22 goals in League's Cup. They faced off against Nashville team that has the best defense in the entire league with 22 goals conceded. Like, how many crazy things happen? Jordi Alba takes a penalty for the first time? Still not confirmed, but if that's true, that's crazy. So, like, what were they going to do?
Too.
Yeah, well, it was a good penalty, but like, how was this really going to play? Because I'm just seeing a little bit of favoritism, and that's like where my comes at. It's like, were they going to offer Nashville a combo ball spot? Was that just going to always happen, or was that only available if Messi won? Because like, for me, that dilutes the whole competition. It's like, if you're only offering superlative prizes to certain winners, you know, like, that's messed up. So there was a bit of a stink on it for me. It was like, this competition was set up for Inter Miami to win, if at nothing else. And they won it. So touche, hats off to y'all. And you know, we got to move on, and we'll go cry about it later.
One quick thing, because of course the one person I think that's missing in all this is Tata Martino. And for those of y'all that have forgotten, of course, he used to be up here in the A. Remember his last game in coaching MLS was winning MLS Cup of 2018. He walks right in with Messi and comes and walks out with another trophy. I mean, I think that you found the right coach at the right moment with the right players, and boom. So again, like going forward, I would not rule out a very strong challenge for a playoff spot. But again, just get the US Open Cup. I think that'd be a very nice double for the season.
Absolutely, I would not complain.
If Miami lose instantly in one of the cups, my point, I will definitely stink on Twitter, and I'll, you know, whatever. But I also think that point that you made, that I highlighted earlier, Greggo, about the exception for PSG, that being the exception for Messi, not the standard.
Oh yeah.
Also now applies to Tata. Mexico was the exception, not the standard.
I mean, you definitely
That's
need
another
to have
conversation,
like
though.
No.
I don't want to open up a can of worms.
I can touch that real quick. I mean, I think that definitely when you have the right in elements and ingredients and timing involved, that goes a long way. And I definitely think that, because I want to say Messi during his presser a couple days ago was basically saying like he didn't want to go to PSG, and I think that the way he played at PSG reflected that, like where it was just basically it was basically transactional. It was like, hey, I'm here, I'll get this check, and you know we'll win the league. Like, don't worry about that. But as far as just like anything else, it's like, yeah, you know, I've already done this, so you know, it's not the end of the world. And of course, we see now with him gone, Neymar gone, like it's I think that whatever was going on there is something that's gonna be built for a 30 for 30 one day, because how you manage to fumble that bag, I'll never understand. But I think that you know, obviously coming here, bringing Busquets here, bringing Jordi Alba here, like you have your homies here, like you have people that you roll with. Of course, and he managed to find a new bestie in Joseph. So it's like, yeah, like you're in a good space, and of course it allows you to go harder and ultimately play better. And of course, like you saw how he like when Miami won the shootout, he's running out there like they just won like the World Cup, like it was just in Qatar a couple months ago. Like he was happy. He was genuinely happy. And I think that you can't underestimate just the true power of just being happy where you are and
like the right environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. AD said last episode, right, that right, he just looks like he's having fun, right, AD?
For sure, and that's like the my bad, that was a delay. But for sure, it looks like he's having fun out there, and it looks like he cares. Definitely, like Greggo said, the fact that he has his friends around, it definitely looks like he's enjoying his situation. Him and Tata, it just seems like it's like when somebody puts a great meal in front of you, but it's just not what you want right now. And when you eat it, you're like, this, I know it's good, but I'm just not enjoying it. Like PSG's a nice team, but I'm not enjoying it here or whatever. And then they put that messy burger in front of him and he was like, this is what I wanted. And not to compare it to any other GOAT comparison, guys, but the dude over there in the Saudi league just seems very bitter with everything. Even though he's getting a lot of money, he just seems very bitter.
He almost had a hat trick today. Got denied by a blatant handball.
Yikes.
All right, so first of all, we need to figure out what entree is PSG. Is it like what is that meal that you think you want, but then when it's put in front of you, like
to keep it within context, it's like escargot, right? It's like an expensive plate, really fancy, and you're like, I want to be able to afford that one day, and then you get it, and like, motherfucker, I don't want no snails, bro. Like, I don't want to put this in my mouth right now. Like,
just give me the burger.
At the end of the day, like, man, you know what? I would love just a burger and fries, man.
Just give me the burger. Yo, so yeah, that was great. And I
turkey bacon. I just had that this morning, and it's like it sounds good, but then you take a bite, you're like, dog, what are we doing?
This is not bacon.
Okay, so as someone that does not eat pork, I'm gonna ride with turkey bacon. I'm gonna defend turkey bacon.
Oh no,
because
it's dry.
Okay, all right. Let's get off this subject before y'all crucify me.
No. I ride and not ride with turkey bacon. Just because I gotta watch the waistline.
Well, that too. But I think Messi has talked about, right, like before the League Cup final, at the press conference, right? He had a couple one-on-one interviews, and he talked about how he was not happy at PSG, right? He did not enjoy those 2 years. And so it's just a blessing to watch the greatest player, arguably the greatest player on earth, be happy and play the game that he loves, right? So I think we should all feel blessed that we have that opportunity. Mm-hmm. And to Greggo's point, right, that this is not just a Messi. I mean, obviously he dominates the headlines, but this is not just about Messi, right? That I don't think, and I said this last episode, I don't think Messi would be balling the way he is balling without the likes of Busquets, without the likes of Alba, without a tactical manager with Tata, right? I mean, Messi aside, the team itself looks completely different. The way we are playing the game, right? We're playing with confidence. We're controlling the tempo for the majority of the matches, right? We're being direct. We're being positive, right? It's like all of these things we didn't see with he who shall not be named. But it's a complete turnaround from what we had to what we have now, and it's just a blessing to watch. And I hope that even though Greggo and TK are not Inter Miami supporters, that y'all can still enjoy the experience, right? Enjoy these next 2.5 years.
Oh yeah, I mean, to be frank, like the entire Americas should be thanking Don Garber, Beckham, and like throwing out some shield, to be totally honest. Like it was either, I mean, yeah, like unless you live in Europe proper, and even with that, because of the way Europe is, to travel across Europe is not the same as to travel across America. I mean, outside of the fluidity of things like trains in Europe and Eurasia, like it's definitely a better situation to be, I feel, at least in the Americas, and to have a Messi or a superstar global, footballer who is going to drastically change the entire makeup of a league, a country, the viewpoint of the sport. So yeah, it's you got to give Messi his flowers, and like I said earlier, everyone else who was involved in it. This honestly feels like a little bit of an Olivia Pope moment for MLS. Like they really do have someone in the background.
No, I think that this moment right here is what validated waiting for Miami to happen all those years. Cause like we're going on like nearly 10 years when Miami was first announced, and just going through all the delays with the team starting to play. And because I think that they knew, Garber knew, it's like, hey, like once this thing jumps off, it's going to jump off in a big way. And I think they knew from even a long time ago, like Messi was the kind of guy that they wanted to have. Like they couldn't just have a Steven Gerrard. Like they had to have like the top of the top to make Miami work, because of course, like kind of like with Atlanta, like Miami,
I think the league.
Yeah, I know. But just speaking of Miami, because like you seen like with the Heat, with the Dolphins, sometimes like, hey, fans don't always show up like this. Like, hey, we'll get there when we get there. We out here on the beach first, and it's like you got, like if you want people to come through, like it's gotta be for somebody that's like, hey, we need to be there right away. And I think that Messi hits that in spades. But I also think that they were smart enough to realize that he alone cannot do this, because like I saw Zlatan, throw a little shade a couple days ago, and of course I'm pretty sure he's jealous because the Galaxy didn't surround him with a couple guys to where he could actually win. Because like, of course, he got his, but nobody else was there, and that's why the Galaxy still suck. I think that in this case here, they were like, hey, we know that in order for this to work, it can't just be just this one guy expected to carry the way. I mean, you brought Busquets, who's basically turned into Xavi and Iniesta combined in the one, and of course you have Alba still doing this thing out on the wing, out at fullback. And I think that everything has fallen into place to where, like I said, it's going to be a very fun 10 games of the season. And of course, going into next year, because they're already talking about making possible roster and financial changes to where you might be able to spend even more. I think that, yes, it's about to be fun times in South Beach.
And hopefully it's about to be fun times in MLS, right? Hopefully this really changes the way MLS operates. Callie, you want to jump in real quick?
Yeah, I agree with everything Greggo just said, except I'm a little upset that you don't consider Steven Gerrard top of the top, but that's fine.
Sucks.
Mid. Whoa.
Mid.
Whoa.
I mean, though, it's true though. It has to be a global star power, and unfortunately,
I don't see how this isn't synonymous with just Steven Gerrard. I mean, I'm missing the point here, I guess.
Cut that for the joke section.
Callie's gonna die on that hill. Oh man,
bro, I have to deal with all the Manchester City stuff all the time. I will stand up for my boy. All right.
I mean, to be fair, it would be like a Klopp. Like it'd be like you'd have to have a Klopp come to an MLS team. I think that would be like the equivalent, or maybe like a Salah would like have to leave next season at his age.
Yeah,
but that's another book of worms.
Soon enough. Actually, I like Salah. Like he's a bigger star than Gerrard, so it's all good.
Yay!
He won the league. He won the league. He
did though. He did though.
All right, so let's stay with MLS, please, before Cali starts throwing hands out here. So let's stay with MLS, and let's quickly give you our dream team from Matchday 27. So obviously, MLS was on a pause during the Leagues Cup, and they just resumed this past weekend on Sunday. Matchday 27. So AD, do you want to quickly go through the Eastern Conference dream team?
Yes, sir. Jermaine MLS is back. And okay, so for Eastern Conference, we want to start with Jason Rex Orlando Russell Rowe. If that man does not sound like he's from the yard, I don't know what else. But anyway, he plays for Columbus, and he was subbed in during stoppage time during the Hell is Real Derby between Columbus and Cincinnati. Ohio, I don't know why they do these things. Anyway, but so he scored in the 96th minute, and it's his third on the season. He slipped a nice little goal past the keeper and the inside post. He had no space, but he didn't think twice, and he just sunk it in there. Nice to see from him. He's a Canadian national, 3 caps already, so 20 years old. Good to see from him. The second one that I wanted to point out was Ivan Angulo from Orlando. But anyway, so he's a 24-year-old Colombian, and he scored the second goal for Orlando, which broke the tie between them and Chicago. And Chicago was they were in control of the game up until that point, and it just flipped the game on its head. But that was his 4th goal of the season. He spent some time in Brazil and Portugal. Good guy.
Bet. Yeah. So can I just say before we go on that, man, no one likes Orlando. AD mentioned Orlando, and Greg was like, man, fuck them niggas, man.
Dude, they make it so easy to like.
They get no love. They never get love. It's like
it's
Atlanta,
crazy,
Miami, fuck Orlando.
They make it so easy to like hate them. Even their own fans. It's like toxic down there. The fan cam has some of the best footage, like their own fan cam of their own fans hating on themselves. I don't get it. Anyway.
Yeah, it's a shit show in Orlando. So
do you know how you get to Orlando from Miami? You go north till you smell it, and west till you step in it.
I don't know why I never heard that before, but that's brilliant.
You know what?
It's absolutely brilliant.
All I know
I was
is
expecting that new train joke, the belt line or something.
The Bright Line?
Or the Bright Line, yeah, the Bright Line.
Yeah. No, that's Death Machine. Be careful of that. I don't want to make fun of it because it will kill me one day. So
I was just saying, I saw that it ran right through that semi.
But
it'll do that. It happens. It's actually like a hazard down here.
All I need is just Tampa to get into MLS as well, so we can really get
bring up the Rowdies.
Get the real hate on Orlando, because I know that round. Good Lord, I heard some shit to go back years.
The war on I-4, baby.
I like that. I like that. Yeah, shout out to the Rowdies. Hopefully one day we'll see. I think there's like an NWSL team, or there was conversation or discussions about NWSL coming to Tampa, but it never really worked out.
Never mind that.
They didn't get one of the final spots, did they?
Come to Miami.
Nah. Right, that's what.
Well, the ownership says they want to bring a women's team to Miami. Yeah. So
I mean, like I said, there's plenty of dates available in Freedom Park. Go ahead and make that happen, man.
Yep.
Facts. That's definitely one of the dreams for a lot of supporters out here in Miami, that we get that NWSL club. So All right, so quickly, let me just wrap up the Western Conference Dream Team, and then we'll end the episode with our footnotes segment, right? So in the West, you had Mender Garcia from Minnesota, came in the 81st minute, scored during stoppage time. Just a really clean counterattack. Made a great run off the ball behind the defender, and didn't even control the ball. Right? He just let the ball run right in front of him. One touch shot into the back of the net. He actually received the ball. So the player who got the assist is actually from Libya, Ismail Tajouri Shradi. So shout out to our African players. We definitely always want to shout out the African players whenever we come across them. So Mender Garcia, Colombian, hella black Colombians, hella Afro Colombians in MLS. So definitely want to keep our eye on that. And it's his third goal in the season. Speaking of Minnesota, shout out to Bangi Hlongwane. He actually had a pretty nasty injury. He got subbed out in the first half. But we're always going to shout out Bangi as long as possible because he also had a fantastic Leagues Cup. For a while there, it was him and Messi, the top goal scorers in the tournament. So definitely shout out to Hlongwane. Hopefully he gets better with a speedy recovery. Next in the West, we had Nelson Quinones Jr., Nelson Jr. He scored in the 11th minute. Houston, them boys put up 4 in the first half against Portland. Right? Against Portland, bro. Portland isn't a bad team, right? But they clearly just said fuck it. So Nelson got the, I think it was the second goal of the game in the 11th minute. Carrasquilla, the Panamanian, put in a beautiful cross to Hector Herrera, who laid it off really nicely for Nelson. And his goal was a beautiful goal. He had his back to the goal. He turns around and hits the half volley past the keeper. So shout out to Nelson Quinones with Houston. And it is his second goal of the season. Again, another Colombian. And then the final 2 players are both coming from St. Louis, and they both had a brace. Okay, so Nico Gioacchini, we've talked about Nico a number of times on the show. He had a brace. The first goal was just a beautiful pass by Edward Lewin, or Leuven. Played Nico a beautiful ball down the left flank, and Nico just struck it really well. He first hit the post, but then the ball just kind of snuck into the back of the net. And in the second goal, we saw AZ Jackson. Shout out to AZ Jackson, who we talked about a couple episodes ago. Played a beautiful little chip to Alm, another midfielder in St. Louis, who found Nico making another great run into the box. He hit the post again, but was able to get back to it and just slot it in to the back of the net to complete the brace. So shout out to Nico. He has 10 goals on the season. Always a big milestone for players to hit double digits in goals. So big shout out to Nico Gioacchini. And then finally, Nico's substitute, basically, Sam Adeniran. He came in for Nico, and we talked about Sam Adeniran in the past. He also had a brace. His first goal, if y'all haven't seen Sam Adeniran's first goal against Austin, go watch that right now. Absolute magic. He left-footed shot outside of the left foot and sent it into the far right corner. So if you can imagine that, you can kind of imagine the difficulty of that shot. And then his second goal was similar quality, right? He again hit it with his left, but this time with the inside of his left into the left corner, right? And so for Sam Adeniran, he is on a beautiful little tear right now, scoring 5 goals in 10 matches, right? So Nico obviously has that starting position up top. And we've talked about in the past, right? If Sam Adeniran and Nico can play up top together, we might see some real dangerous play, right? In connection between the two. And that's what we're seeing now with both of them getting on the score sheet. I think the final score was like 6-3, 6-4 against Austin, right? So St. Louis is obviously having a fantastic debut season. And this is largely because of players like Nico and Sam Adeniran. All right, so that wraps up our dream team. And then to wrap up today's episode, we definitely want to look at our footnote segment, where we will discuss the recent fashion choices by MLS clubs, namely Inter Miami's collaboration with Bape, and Atlanta United's recently released third kit. Right, I think they just released it today, if I'm not mistaken, or yesterday. So TK, I know you made some dope content when the Inter Miami and Bape video dropped. What are your initial thoughts? What are your initial reactions? How are you thinking about it? And then we can talk about that when it actually dropped on the 19th at the Bape stores, because those lines were disgusting.
Yeah, I remember when I first saw the collab, I had to remind myself that Bape was a company, because I remember them being really popular like a decade ago. But I thought it was cool. I think the material looks cool. I love that kind of camo pattern shirt that they have, the pink camo. Although, you know, shout out to our boy Johnny Sergeant Siege, who's been rocking the pink camo for a while now. But man, everything is so damn expensive. I peeked online for some of it, and it was like $90 for like a hat. I'm like, I'm sorry, I'll appreciate this from a distance, but I think the material, the stuff looks good. Like, I don't have any real complaints, but goddamn, bro, I just can't afford it.
Yeah, definitely out of my price range. TK, what about you, bro? First of all, thank you for that great video that you made. Really dope content. What were your initial thoughts?
I thought it was amazing. I'm a big fan of Bathing Ape. I'm not from Virginia, but back in college and, around the time that Clips, Pharrell, the Neptunes were all coming out, like, for me, that was a shift in music. And as a musician at the time, going to school for music, that motivated me. So I was up in Virginia doing spring breaks, and I was in love with Bape stuff. But I'll be honest, I don't have one single Bape piece of furniture, kit, clothing, sock, like hanky, tissue. Never been into a Bape store in my life, but I appreciate the brand. So I was like just lit for Bape and MLS to be doing something. And then it was just like only natural at that point to see that the cross was with Miami, because again, star power. So, I was just like, hey, let's see what it is. And I've really been motivated to kind of do some deep dives on things like that, where they try to tease you, but I'm like, oh no, I can frame by frame this 15-minute video. So, yeah, it was really fun, enjoyable. I just wish it would have been people-friendly prices, as I stated earlier, because cut those prices in half, and they'll sell out regardless. But you know what I mean, at 20 times more volume.
Right. If you cut those prices in half, I feel like that's still out of my price range. Like, that's how expensive them things were, bro. Like, Jesus Christ. Like, so I got in the car Saturday like midday, just to go for a ride. I actually drug wifey out with me. I'm like, hey, let's just go for a ride. Let's go see the city for a little bit. Definitely took it to the Bape store just to see what was popping. So yeah, that line was wild, right? I think the doors opened at 11. We got there like 11:30, and the line was just around the block, around the corner. So I had no interest in joining that line. I really had no interest in buying anything once I saw the price. But yeah, I was equally excited to see the collaboration, just to see that Bape, as TK just explained, has a certain place in the culture, right? And so it was nice to see Inter Miami kind of make that collaboration with them, even though, as some of our Black Herons members articulated, like, yo, who is this for, right? Like, who is this collection for, right? Is it for the culture, or is it for the people that can afford it, right? Not to say that those two are mutually exclusive, but we get the point, right?
Great point you make with that comment. I will say, as a person who loves the brand and has never owned it, I wear a lot of creative recreational as an alternative because it was affordable.
That's taking it back, man.
So I don't know if that's an actual link to make this more interesting, but from the affordability standpoint, like, we all got to eat still.
Facts. But Greggo, any thoughts on the Bape collaboration? AD, you want to jump in as well?
The Rex, man, like that, like, man, what a time to be alive. And matter of fact, I was living in was living in Hampton during that period where they were hot, and then I was working in Norfolk, so of course all that was just right there. And yeah, the babes, like, of course, like the people who had it, like, you just knew it's like your plug is unbelievable, because of course you would hardly ever see it in stores. So it's like, how do you get this? And obviously, like TK mentioned, the timing with Messi, just all of a sudden the new wave of popularity with Miami, because like I've talked about this on our pod in the past, like with the kits that came out in the past couple of years. I was like, they're kind of keeping it 70 with some Miami kids. I'm like, yo, like we need some heat out here. Like I said, they only went pink, they ain't go pink with the current kit, and I'm like, yo, like we need some heat out in the streets. Like I'm hoping that this is the start of something that we start to see more heat. Obviously, hopefully more affordable heat, but still just heat, period. But I think that it's fine. It's fine. But yeah, I'm ready to see what's next, because I mean, next year should be a new kit, new home kit, and like I said, like let's go a little deeper with the pink. Let's see what happens.
AD, what you got, man?
I mean, I definitely like the rollout. The collab was a surprise. Like TK said, I've always been a fan of Bape ever since I was younger, but I never thought that it was in my price range. I was always just like, okay, y'all got it. I like what y'all got, but y'all got it, because I don't got it like that. But shout out Soulja Boy, because I got me some Bathing Ape song came out during the time where people were rapping about shoes a lot or whatever. So that's immediately what I thought of. The rollout was nice. The merch, it was nice. I thought it was gonna be like more aggressively camo, aggressively pink, as Greggo says. But I did like the hoodie a lot. But those prices, I'm like,
$469. $469 at the time of recording for the hoodie. Just so we put a price on something for the world to know and absorb.
Thank you.
Killing me, Smalls.
Also, the last person I saw wearing Bathing Ape shoes, I was leaving the airport at Miami when I hung out with y'all. My flight got delayed. I was texting. I probably could have been at the match, but instead I'm eating this $15 voucher, looking at this not brown, dark-skinned man in Bape shoes. Moving on.
Yep.
Enough said. That's great. So, all right. So speaking of third kits, right? Because I know Greggo, really wants to see some more PANK in the third kits for next year. What about Atlanta? What's going on in Atlanta, Greggo? The third kit just dropped. They're trying to honor Atlanta hip hop culture.
Okay.
What's going on there?
Okay. There's so much to really go up in there, and I'm pretty sure when we have our episode next week, we will definitely go into it deep, because I'm hoping to. So, like, let me take a step back. The Atlanta third kit is it was in theory a collaboration between Atlanta United and a streetwear brand here in Atlanta called Atlanta Influences Everything. It's actually ran by a good homie of ours, Ben Joner, and Atlanta native and everything, like true blue Atlanta to the core. And like, we actually knew about this project going back, like I said, almost a year and a half, maybe even a little longer than that. And so like we, like, it was to the point where like we actually were almost on this project ourselves. And so the lightest way I could put this is that I am massively disappointed in what they came out with. So at least the logic, at least that how it's been explained to me, is a take on the spray paint tees and hats that used to be a thing back in the 90s and early 00s and everything. So it's a take on that. It's not so much graffiti, but of course, obviously, it looks like graffiti given that it's on a black background and everything. And first of all, it's they didn't really work with our guys at Atlanta Foolishness and everything, so it's not really their design. Adidas kind of hijacked the whole thing from them, and of course, given what they put out, that shit was just mid as fuck. I mean, like, bruh, like, because like all it is just Atlanta United, just like basically all over the jersey, just in the spray paint design. And I'm like, that's all you really thought to do? That's all you really thought to make out of this? And then of course, shout out to our homegirl Sky from Shea Butter FC. She found the tweet of one of the designers that apparently worked on the kit, because apparently, again, it wasn't AIE, but
Greggo, can you get that shout out again real quick?
Sky from Shea Butter FC. Yeah, she found a tweet from one of the designers and everything, because again, it wasn't from AIE whatsoever. And and I saw another tweet out here basically saying like it looked like somebody from the suburbs, clearly not black. They took what was probably designed to say, hey, let's do this another way, and came out with some really mid shit. And I'm just, like I said, on a personal and professional level, I'm just like, nah, like, you could have done better. Because again, based on what you had available, whether it been graffiti, old school fashion, I feel like there's enough artists here to where you could have had something that came off much more authentic to the Atlanta culture. Now, mind you, I'm not from Atlanta. I've been down here a little over 10 years, but at the same time, I have an affection for the city where I'm like, yo, like, you have an opportunity to where you can do something really great here. And instead, they came out with just some half-ass shit, and that bothers me. And again, like, you had a chance to work with people that we actually rock with pretty heavy, and you decided, nah, let's just do this in our own house, and we'll just slap your name on the back collar tag and say, hey, that's how we get down. But like I said, like we're actually we'll be at the official unveil event on Thursday, and I'm hoping to get Bim on the pod in the next week or so, because yeah, I feel like there's definitely a story here that hopefully he's in a position where he can talk about it, because I mean, obviously there might be NDAs and all that stuff involved, but again, like, I know for a fact this wasn't his work, and I feel like this was an opportunity for Atlanta Foolishness everything to shine, and you like this has their name on it, and they didn't really provide much on it other than just that logo. And I said that's unfortunate, because you had a chance to connect with native Atlanta. You had a chance to connect with the culture, because mind you, the unveil video, that was actually pretty cool. But of course, there was a disconnect between the messaging and narrative and what they actually came out with, because I feel like it wasn't really explained as far as what they were trying to do, because of course, to the people who don't know, they're just thinking that, hey, it's just a graffiti jersey. And of course, mind you, they already just did it a couple weeks ago with the Red Bulls, one that was much better, mind you. And then two, let's say, like, even if it was, like, there are actually a lot of great graffiti artists based here in Atlanta that you could have rolled with and created something even better, and you didn't do that either. And again, like, for what I think they were trying to do, because like anybody that's been to a skating rink, you know, like you have like the big spray painted banners, like with the caddy and everything, like even for what you were trying to do, you didn't. The execution on that was off too. And I'm like, how do you just fail on this? But basically, and it's something that, again, it's very unfortunate. It's something that it looks like. I'm not even from here, and I'm like, this shit bothers me. And I think that, you know, there's just, I speaking totally truthfully, there's just enough on there to where you probably could still drip it up a little bit, but at the same time, it's just like what it stands for and what they were at least attempting. I'm like, I can't rock with that shit. Like that's some absolute as Sky said, it's gentrified graffiti. So no.
Yeah, that's it's unfortunate, man. Like we see, I think someone as an Inter Miami supporter, right? As a Black Heritage member, right? Like I crave for anything Black culture with this club, right? So when I saw Atlanta's third kit, or like, you know, like a couple weeks ago, like when they released the teasers, right? Mm-hmm. Which is like, oh, that's interesting, right? Like that's culture, like that's like that, and then apparently, like hearing the inside story, and I mean even the design itself, as you said, is very it felt very lazy, right? It's just ATL United. Yeah, like throughout the
but they didn't even spell ATL or Atlanta. It's all abbreviated. You know,
that's their thing. They want to do the ATLUTD, but it's like, again, like for what they were attempting to do, the storytelling wasn't as clear as I think that it could have been. Because again, if it's about the skate rink stuff, you did obviously your video didn't reflect it at all. And then if it's about the graffiti, then you definitely chose something that was Superman. Because of course, like what we saw around the city, like they I think one of the first teasers was up at Croc Street Tunnel, which for those of y'all that don't know is notorious for like all the beautiful street art and graffiti that's inside the tunnel. But it doesn't it seeing again, if that's your vibe, then you could have gone with an actual Atlanta graffiti artist and came out with something even hotter. And
check. Garen fucking T, they hired somebody notable enough to do that teaser painting, but that person wasn't allowed to convey any creative input. Yeah. Beyond that said, oh, this is your mural. Do this. We're gonna block this off. This debuts on this day. Thank you. Have a nice day. Yeah. You get your credit. Peace. I mean, like coming from outside the city every day and then going back, in and out. Man, I see pretty interesting graffiti murals all the time. I passed 3 train lines to get in over the Chattahoochee to come into work every day. Bruh, like it just reeks of just like hijacked, like like because Atlanta Fluence's everything is already a notable brand. So Atlanta took this opportunity to say, oh, this brand is notable and has national recognition, global recognition, honestly. There were people wearing that shirt at the World Cup in Qatar. So, yeah. And this is just a money grab. They used their branding. They said, okay, this is a Black culture brand. In my opinion, they used their branding to connect with the city to old heads, 45 plus. And they're like, okay, this is a way that we could bring in a new section of fans. And they totally missed the mark with someone like they could have did better. They could have did better. And I had to stop myself from adding them directly on Twitter today. But before we really turn into a can of worms, it just could have been better. If you want a nice jersey that actually pays homage to the 50 years of hip hop and to graffiti in any kind of way, go buy the New York Bulls jersey and then just take the logo off.
You know what bothers me with that one is that how the Red Bulls get that jersey and New York City, who plays in the Bronx, where hip hop was actually born, and not get that kid. Like, bruh.
Brooklyn.
and NYCFC's kid, again, also mid.
Oh, and something on that too, because the theme of our away kit is the city in the forest. Now, of course, if you've seen it, there's nothing about that says forest whatsoever. But however, they gave New York City an actual forest kit with actual trees and leaves, and then gave them the green shorts. I'm like, dog, like, can we at least pair up our shit with some coordination, please? But yeah, I could go with all day on that. But like I said, stay tuned. FTCUTD probably next week. Of course, this week we will have content from the unveil, and you'll probably see that on the socials. But yeah, like, again, like this.
Yeah, we're gonna do a short on it. It's too hot to wait a week. We're gonna do a short on this between now and Thursday. So just expect that to come out before we just run right over this. The only thing I do want to point out is, and only because it hasn't been said, is an original derivative of that kit was the AT Aliens album cover, which is based off a comic strip and a video game kind of combination integration, and none of that was present. And that's literally the only thing I have to say. So peace.
Nah, that's an important piece. Right.
It like something that had such high potential, and that's kind of just like what we got. I remember when I first saw the leaks of it, I'm like, okay, maybe like it's like you see like kind of like the digitized version that they throw out. I'm like, okay, I'd have to see this like a warrant on somebody to see what's going on. Maybe this is a bad file, I don't know. But then I saw it, I'm like, God damn.
So like
that's
my thinking was that would be something like, of course they would use the colors, but you would still have like a fuller design, you know, around the ATLUTD word mark. And so like when I saw it, I'm like, oh, that's basically they spoiled the shit like 3-4 months ago in the tunnel, like, because there was really nothing else. I'm like, you like, again, low energy, low effort, and again, you culture vulture and you swagger jacker, and that's for an organization that's done typically well with connecting with the culture in this city. Like, this is bad, and of course it's already getting bad right here because, you know, we're in the middle of season ticket renewals and everything, and apparently those numbers are bleeding hard because, of course, given how the results have been, you know, this past season, and just the overall up and down results from the past 3 years, basically. And Boca out, by the way. And you know, it's something that you need a win right now. And mind you, we did get one on Sunday against Seattle, but no, like, you need like wins, you know, with just public confidence in the way that the direction of the team is going. I feel like this is, of course, there'll be suburban kids out here who will think this is all cool, and they'll think they're from the hood and shit. And I'm like, no, do better, please do better. But you know, they didn't call me, and like I said, this is what you got.
That was their first mistake.
Y'all know how I get down. I'm like, yeah, trust me. One of these days, they will come, and the hotness is already ready.
One of these days, just gotta be patient.
Y'all gotta call us too, because y'all already seen how I done with y'all. I'm like, hey, y'all can call us too.
Hey,
chestnut checkers.
You already know. AD, what you got, man?
Nothing. I just wanted to say that the kit, the color scheme of the kit reminded me, like TK said, of the Outkast AT Aliens album cover. That was the first thing I thought of when I saw the color scheme. I was like, okay, I think I know what they're going for. But it just seemed like the kit was like a base iteration where it was like, okay, this is a starting point. Now let's build off of this and get creative with it. Don't just send this out. Like, somebody just okayed that and they're like, yeah, that's
all
the
we
one.
need.
No, wait, let's add some more stuff to it. So what I'm hoping is that, like, the supporters who buy the kit just decide this is the base and we're just going to graffiti on it ourselves and just do whatever you want. Everybody come out with your own customized graffiti on the kit. I mean, whatever.
Make
that would be a fascinating concept. Yeah.
Oh, well, now what I was going to say is that
Appreciate it.
Never fear. FTC, like I said, we still got something for this jersey. So, of course, for those of y'all that don't know, FTCUTD.com/shop. Come on with it if you want to, because we can still drip this thing up.
All day, every day. Make sure you go check out FTCUTD on the shop, on the socials, the podcast, of course. They've been the OGs in this podcast game for a minute now, just really leading the way, showing everyone how to do it properly. So, we are absolutely blessed again to have Greggo and TK on the episode. Thank y'all for joining us. We'll do it again, I'm sure, in the future. And so, just to be clear, just to wrap up all of everyone's opinions, what we need to do is go. If we're not going to get the New York Red Bulls kit, we're going to get the Atlanta kit and then add to it, right? Do our own little graffiti art on top of that, which may come out, most likely will come out better than the original, right? Can't come out worse. That's a fact. That's a fact. So, any final words from y'all, Callie, TK, AD, Greggo? Any final words?
But no, I say, I'm just ready for the black herring shirts. That's all I got, man. Like, it's of course, it's always vibes here. Like, we bring the thunder every time, so be ready.
It is coming.
Follow the drip.
Follow the drip. Exactly.
Is that the name of the episode, by the way? Follow the drip. So we're going with.
I can work with that.
I like it.
I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that at all. I'm not. I was gonna go with Soldier Boy Tell 'em, but we can go with Follow the Drip. I like that. But all right, y'all. So definitely appreciate y'all for joining us. Next week we'll come back and get back into our regular schedule with the Dream Team and the footnotes and all that good stuff. All things black soccer in MLS. In the meantime, go ahead and follow us at Freedom Dreams BH on Twitter.
Y'all to fix that. I told y'all.
We need to, bruh. We've been trying to figure out what the name is, bro. But everything's taken.
Elon gotta quit tripping, man. That's all there is to it,
bro. Elon stay tripping, bro. But definitely follow us on all the socials. Follow FTCUTD. Greggo, go ahead and give them your socials.
Yes. The conversation will definitely continue this week, as always, on FTC UTD, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. FTC UTD Pod on TikTok. Of course, we're on Threads too, even though Threads is still half broken too. But hey, we're everywhere. Just follow us.
Bet. All right, appreciate y'all again. And with that, we are signing off. Talk to y'all next time. Peace.